Okay.
Good afternoon. It is here in northern New South Wales on the east coast of Australia. And welcome to Spiritual Conversation. Today's topic is what is truth? And we have some interesting conversations go on under the topic of spiritual conversations. We've had some great people come on and some great conversations. And somewhere along the line, the question of truth has been raised. So I decided, well, let's really talk about it, tease it out. What is truth? And I'm hoping the collective wisdom here will come up with the answer to what is truth. And we often hear the truth will set you free. And I'm introducing myself, I'm Margaret Lambert, a psychologist, author and speaker. And from a psychologist's point of view, when people say the truth will set you free, what does that mean for the people we work with or the people that we are suggesting that this would be a good thing for them to tap into the truth and what will help them to come to a greater peace within them, I suppose. So that's the question I posed today, and we've got three beautiful people here. And if I just run around the boxes, and please give an intro of who you are and probably what drew you to this conversation anyway. So if we start with Susie.
Hi, I'm Susie Chill. I live in northern New South Wales, right on the border at Kira. There's, can I just say, somebody's got some background noise. Is that you, Jackie?
Nobody, nothing.
Yeah, it is actually, because I've got you on mute and it's quiet. When I take you off mute, there's some
with me
interference.
Yes, you.
Yeah, that's actually good now.
Yeah.
There's nothing. I'm in a very quiet place.
Nothing now.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
I think it might have been, it sounded like papers rattling or something.
Right.
But we're fine now, so let's keep on going.
Okay.
Thanks, Susie.
So I'm called the Heart Whisperer. What I do is I help people creatively make that shift from their head to their heart. I'm an artist, I'm an author, I'm a speaker and a blogger. And I love Blab. And why am I here? I met Margaret a few weeks ago on Blab, and I came on the one last week, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm meant to be finishing a book today, but here I am. I thought I'll just drop in for a little while. I didn't realise I was going to be online. So anyway, so I'm here, and I think it's an interesting conversation about truth. Noise.
Yeah, that's it again, the noise. Yeah.
Oh, I'll mute myself.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, feel free to introduce yourself now, Jackie, and then we'll come back to the question. Maybe if we make this round the intros, and then we'll come back and kick in to answer what is truth.
Yeah, I'll speak and then I'll mute myself if that helps. I've never had that happen before. Anyway, so geek by day and spiritualist by night.
Oh, beautiful.
And so, yeah. And a long time ago, actually, it was interesting. A client of mine, a very famous person, said they'd never met anyone that had both worlds so well balanced, the left and the right.
Yes.
That was a compliment. I personally, I need variety in my life. I like having the spiritual part of me with me and influencing my work in the with clients and in the tech field. I think you can affect even technology with focus and spiritual principles. So what drew me to the room is most of the rooms I find quite boring. And so the word spiritual, then I landed on truth, but the words, anything to do with spirituality, I find very attractive.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, and I'm in San Francisco, not San Francisco, but outside of San Francisco. I'm going to be here for another 6 months, and then I'm going to Italy. A group of us are buying an island to create a spiritual retreat.
Oh,
Wow.
Nice.
and do you have information about that at this point in time?
I'll start as I'm working on 3 websites right now. I redid mine. I'm doing a little bit for Nighthawk Spirit so that people can, find out more, and then I'll have a different information, and then I'll start sending it out when the time is proper. But in the meantime, I'm planning maybe tomorrow to start doing a law of attraction blab, and I'm in the process of lining up people to do it with that I find fun and positive, and who have taught together with me before in the physical. So I ran a law of attraction group here in San Francisco for, 4 or 5 years, and then I moved about an hour away from San Francisco, so I don't feel like driving in. And some of those teachers I want to bring into Blab. So I want more spiritual stuff on Blab.
Oh, you've
Cool.
got my interest very much. And
Yeah.
I'm wondering, how do we keep in touch with you to keep on your list to be notified of your development?
I'm gonna befriend you now, all of you.
Yeah, I did some of that.
And then
I'm already following you,
and then
Jackie.
I'll
I heard
start
you on another blab.
and I'll be on here. My other persona is Target the Best. And the logo right now still is bamboo. I'll probably change that, but Target the Best. And there's a targetthebest.com website that I'm redoing, but that's how you can find me the easiest way.
Uh-huh. I've made a note of that. Target the Best.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But Nighthawk Spirit's been my name forever, so.
Yeah. I'm intrigued by your name. Do you want to elaborate? Does that have some history to it?
It does. It's a simple history. I mean, I really love Nighthawk. I used to be Spirit Warrior for years when the internet was new, and they kept saying nothing with a warrior in it. Nobody will talk to you. And then somebody stole that name, and because I was Spirit Warrior no matter where I was, and the ISP I was using was The River, so it was Spirit Warrior at theriver.com. And so when that name got hacked, I started using Nighthawk, and then somebody took that, and then I had to go to Nighthawk Spirit. That it was an evolution. Then I got smart and I bought the domain.
Oh,
And
wow.
what did it come from is I used to ride a Nighthawk motorcycle.
That's very spiritual. My husband is a mad motorcyclist, and he has the book Zen and the Art of Motorcycling Maintenance. It's very zen. If you come to work on a bike, I just watch the patience involved to work
I just got
out.
out of the shower. I use it like a mirror.
Great. So thanks so much, Jackie. It's so lovely to have you join us, and we'll move on to Kathleen, whom I know very well.
Hey, I'm Kathleen. I live in Darwin in Australia in the Northern Territory. Marg's from here as well. That's how we know each other. And I'm an energy healer and health coach, and I work from home and online. And yeah, I'm drawn to Margaret's blabs because I love the people Margaret attracts into her conversations, and I get so much from them. So even when I miss them, which I have over the last couple of weeks, I always try and listen to your replays because they're so cool. So thanks for having me here.
Oh, thank you. I couldn't have 3 better people here today. Plus, I know Susie and Kathleen from previous blabs, and I know Kathleen personally from living in the same location. Susie I met on Blab, and so lovely to have a US new buddy in San Francisco, and people who are interested in the spiritual dimension. Because obviously that's why I created a regular blab session around spirituality, because it's something that's well, very close to my interest. I believe, or I strive to live in a spiritual way. I believe that we are spiritual beings on a human journey, and there's so much intrigue and so much to be learnt, and I love hearing people's perceptions about, the whole dimension of spirituality. And I too have thoroughly enjoyed all of the people who have come to these conversations. They've just had so much to offer. Not always in agreement, I must say. Sometimes they're being quite...
Makes it interesting.
Yeah. They've been quite robust conversations at times.
And let's just say hello to Jeremy too, because Jeremy joined before, and he's there. And I know Jeremy. I haven't actually had a blab with him, but I've seen him in the comment section in a few other blabs. So hey, Jeremy.
Yeah,
and
good on you, Jeremy. So pleased you're here. So, okay, down to the question, what is truth? And I don't know if we'll come up with, very similar answers or very dissimilar answers, but it will all be interesting to hear from everyone. So we're going around the room. Susie, do you want to have a go?
Okay. So what is truth? That's interesting. I think it's something that I haven't really, I talk about speaking your truth, and I talk a lot about communication from our throat chakra. I paint a lot about it. I paint my hearts about speaking the truth and things. So, but to sum it up in that sort of term, so what is truth? So truth for me is when I'm fully centered and I'm living from my heart. So, and I'm following when I'm actually listening to my heart whispers, and I'm actually following the path that I'm being guided to follow. And I'm just hearing here, and it's not always easy, because you can get taken away by other things that can take us away from what our real truth is too. So for me, it's about speaking, what's really important for me, and what's really, I don't know, it's hard. It's that true, where to break away from. Is there another word for true? But I think when we're living authentically, and we're living and we're on purpose, then we're living in truth, and then we're speaking our truth. Yeah. And I don't think I've ever really answered that question in that way. I mean, I write verses about it on my Heart Whispers, but I don't actually think about it in that way. So I think it's interesting. Interesting to just allow whatever came up. That's what I tend to do.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for sharing that. Jackie, what is truth for you? How would you respond to that? You hearing us, Jackie?
I had to click. I was just thinking about what Susie was saying, and I was looking at what Vintuitive was saying.
Yeah.
And at first, my first inclination was that it's not based on individual perspective, but then when I thought about it a little more, I came to a different conclusion. My initial conclusion was truth is truth, which is based on old learning. But I think that if what I teach and talk about being that I'm in the center of my universe, and that what I experience, the ripple effect, has to do with where I'm at, so that someone else that could seem to be right next to me is experiencing things completely differently, because I believe everything's about me. So for that, yes, it would be individual perspective, because somehow the word truth goes into, to me, into that spirit space or godliness or whatever you want to call it, that's on a similar level, and that we are constantly, if we want to, we're always plugged into it, but are we aware of it, and how much of it are we allowing? Then there's this whole continuum of whether or not I choose to be connected to the truth or to my spiritual self. I don't think it's work. I think that we make a mistake sometimes in calling things work. I think it's choice. And so when the poop hits the fan or something major happens, I can have the response I used to have, or I go, hey, I can tell a different story. I can tell a different truth for myself. I can say, my keys are coming back to me. They're here. There is something's going to happen, and I'm going to just find them in a few minutes. They're just going to be there, but I have to be really connected to it. And to me, that's my truth. And if that is my truth at that moment, then it is. Then it's like a manifestation, because I believe it. So belief and truth somehow go together for me. That choice I make in that moment brings me to my truth, which then causes that to be truth. I don't know if I make any sense, but that it makes sense to me.
That makes sense.
And I've done that a lot of times, even times when I didn't want to, or when everything seemed horrible. I mean, there was a major thing that happened to me, and I said, no, that's not true. It's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. I just made it up, And I was an hour away at something, and I got the call from the police department saying, oh, we have your purse, which, was an impossibility. I mean, I was in the very bad section of town where things happen, and I somehow had lost my purse. And I decided I hadn't lost it. I decided I have my purse. It's coming back to me. It's just gone for right now, but it is coming back to me. And I just kept talking to myself, crazy as it seemed. And then bam, I got that phone call. I said, I gotta go. And I went and got, and I said to him, I said, well, you have this red zone. Can I stop there? He said, the cop says to me, I'll just come out and give it to you. Wow. I didn't even have to go in. So, so truth for me is a decision I make. It is what I decide. And if I decide that you're a jerk, or I'm a jerk because you're talking to me, or whatever it is, I can go with that, and then that's the truth. And then something will happen that we don't agree, or we're not on the same level, or we don't do well. Whether you're loving me and I'm hating you, or whether I'm loving you and you're hating me, whatever it is, if my truth isn't truth that is healthy for me, then we're going to keep doing that. And so I can choose what my truth is going to be at that moment, I guess. That's mine.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I'm wondering if that's somewhat connected to what Jeremy, the question that Jeremy posed, is truth closely tied to trust? Because Jackie, you referred to when I'm in touch, when I really choose, and it's almost, to me, I'm seeing that we can bring trust into that when I'm really trusting myself in my position. I trust in my reality. I trust in that I'm going to get my purse back. I wonder.
I don't know if it's trust. I don't know if it's trust. It seems not. Yeah. It's I don't know if it's trust. I know it's a decision. I don't know if the word trust.
I'm thinking, in order for, like your example to me was a beautiful example of the law of attraction, that you decided that you hadn't lost your purse and it will be here. And it even came right to you. And all the time you're telling the story, I'm just thinking LOA. It's beautiful. But I do get a sense that there's a trust in that it will be delivered, that you trust, you put it out there, that I know that this will happen. There's a trust that there will be a follow through.
I don't know, what do you guys think?
Well, I've just asked, is it, I'm not sure about, I understand about trust and I understand about trusting myself, but I don't know that trust and truth go hand in hand. And I was just going to say about Jackie's story, because I also have a law of attraction background, is that about also allowing things to unfold? I mean, because one of the biggest things when I'm teaching law of attraction and working with people with law of attraction is actually getting people to allow things to unfold and things like that. So, but I don't know. But maybe Kathleen.
I agree that it's an allowing. Yeah. Allow is a part of the process for sure. You were going to say something, Kathleen?
I was just going to say, it kind of what you're saying is taking me back to what Vinchuti said is truth relative to individual perspective. So the way everyone's talking, whether you say allow, whether you say trust, that's where I think the perspective comes in, because people have their terminologies for what those words mean, I suppose, to them. So, I mean, trust kind of makes sense to me as well, as I think it resonates with you, Marg. Allowing as well does too. So I guess when Marg posed the question to me, and I spoke to her actually briefly on the phone before the Blab, and she gave me a heads up, so I kind of had to drive home to think about it. But the first word that came to my mind, because I kind of went, wow, yeah, what is truth, you know? But the first word that came to my mind was authenticity. So, you know, being real and being, you know, living, I guess it was about living my truth, because I feel that's really important to me in walking my talk. So, you know, when we say, I think when we think about truth, a lot of people think about speaking the truth, and I just want to always follow that up with, you know, with how I speak and how I live. So, you know, I don't want to be saying things to people and then, you know, living something totally different. It seems really inauthentic to me. So I guess for me, simply, what is truth? It's living in authenticity. It's just being authentic. That's just the first thing that comes to mind. I mean, as I've listened to you, I really relate to everything all of you have said. Well, Marg, you haven't really said too much yet, but, you know, to you, Susie, and you, Jackie, I love what you both said, and on some level it really resonates with me as well. But just my answer to that question was just the first thing that come to mind. That's where I started from. But I guess as the conversation unravels, you know, things resonate with me, and I think, oh, I haven't even thought of it like that. That makes so much sense. So, you know, I think truth is that as well, being able to be open so that you can listen and learn, and when things do resonate with you, and that might make better sense when someone puts something to you, that you're actually allowed to change your mind or think of it in a different perspective, or sit with that for a while. So I think that's part of being truth as well. Some people really block. It's like, what I know. And sometimes we get a bit stuck with that. So I kind of like to be open to other people's truths and see how that sits with me, because that's how I learn and grow. I love it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm finding it fascinating, everyone's perspective, and I'd have to say that I agree with all of you. I you know, to me there is no disagreement there, and what's the point anyway? If that's your response to truth, that's what it is. For me, what is truth? I think, you know, I know Vin said about the individual perspective, and at one level that seems to make sense. However, I'm thinking that there must be an overall truth there must be the truth that is the almighty power that keeps running our world, you know, that keeps, I'm looking out the window here at the waves rolling on. And so the power that keeps all of that in momentum, that keeps the whole earth, the whole universe keep on keeping on. To me, there's an underlying truth there of what is and what is in action. And when I can tune in to that awe, I suppose, and begin to align with that level of greatness and wonder, it's almost like that's in each and every one of us. And when I can align with that, I am close to my truth. Because I think if we allow the individual perspectives, we can have truth showing up in all sorts of minds and in all sorts of bodies that wreak havoc. And we know that exists. And that is my truth. That is truth. This is the truth. And it's put out there as the truth from some people, from some sectors. So this is true. This is the way it is. And I don't know, yes, it's that person's truth, but I don't see that it's always the individual perspective is coming out of a sense of, I suppose the bottom line is love. Coming out of love. Truth to me must align with love. And if it doesn't align with love, that I'm getting close into my truth perspective from a sense of a position of love, then I think that we get into strife about truth being quite antagonistic, quite conflict, wanting to be in conflict. And I don't have a sense that truth is that. So that's why I don't want to hand it over to individual perspective per se. In case somebody suggests that truth is annihilating a whole sense of the world or the universe, that's my truth. I can't get a grip on that.
That's interesting. That's a different interpretation, isn't it? I mean, that sometimes I live in a bubble, but I just think what you've raised I've sort of brought up, I can think of issues where people have that thing, this is their truth, and they won't move from it, and other people are wrong. So that puts truth in a different perspective, I think, to what we've initially been saying, for me anyway.
Yeah, I do tend to think that there is a greater truth. Like that was what I started with. There's a greater truth that is the great creator and the greatness of creation that continues. Is the truth. As I said, I'm looking out and I'm seeing the waves roll. There is a truth in that. It's happening. I'm witnessing it. There's an underlying force, which I would call the truth of the world we live in. It is undeniably the ocean is there, and it continues to be there, and the waves continue to. We continue to have the moon and the sunrise. So there is a force which I think is a basis of truth. Truth is what is, in a sense.
So we kind of answered really within what truth means to us as individuals, as our own perspective.
It's open to the light, yeah. I think
So when I listen to you, it's more of it's a kind of more about connection.
Yeah.
Connection
Yeah,
to what's real, what's in front of us, what we see, how we see it.
I kind of think it's a connection to self. Or
I do too.
When I say self, meaning the Uber God thing, whatever you want to call that bigger thing that you were mentioning, but it has something to do with me. But I don't think it's connection to, I don't know, that lamp or that box. I think it's all here. It's right here for me.
Yes.
And when that's in what the word is, alignment, then I'm in truth, and then I can see truth, I can speak truth, I can be truth, all that, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there, Jackie. I think that alignment is critical, and I'm thinking when working with people, when I think of working with my clients, in order to tease out for them what is their truth, like it could be seen on so many different levels. Their truth is, I have to put food on the table for my children. Their truth is, I need to have a roof over our heads. Their truth is, but if we're getting into the self of what is the truth of myself, and self being the word, the person, the being, it goes deeper than that. And I think it is that alignment of self with the greater truth that we can derive our personal truth.
Yeah. It feels very, I feel connection to self. When I listen to you, I kind of feel like truth, like that connection to God, Goddess, all that is, universe, great spirit. But I think truth is how we connect to that, how we see things. It's living in our truth.
Yes. Yeah. I totally agree, because we can choose to live in people might call it truth. That's where I think the individual perspective gets a bit murky. Because my perspective could be that, well, my truth is, it can be quite self-focused and become quite selfish, that it's all about me and I don't give a damn what your truth is. But I think truth has to resonate. I love your word connection, Kathleen. Truth has to resonate, and I think Jackie referred to it as well, as a connection with others. Else we're shutting them off and being very singularly focused that this is my truth and too bad about the rest of the world.
Yeah.
I'm doing it anyway. And I don't think that we're put here on earth living amongst other people to be that self-focused. I think we're here, we live in community. Families are community. We have our children, we have our partners, whoever we have in our lives. We have to have that connection at an honest level, or at a real level, at a loving level. And if we haven't got it, I think we're missing the mark. So connection is critical to me with perspective. So getting away from, I guess I keep coming away from that individual perspective. It's not just about the individual perspective, even though we might have our idea on it. Oh, great. Good on you, Jeremy. That we can't be so singularly focused on just me without reference to other people. Truth must embrace more than myself. Yeah. Even if we're opposing views of what I believe is the truth. I think the bigger truth is when we can arrive at a connecting point.
Yeah. So even though we talk about connection, the alignment to that connection is important as well.
Yeah, because I can connect with you with a dagger in my hand.
Mm.
You know, what sort of a connection is that?
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Jeremy.
Hi, how's everybody doing?
Good.
Great topic and conversation. I love topics like this. You know, anything related to truth, trust, philosophy, spirituality, anything like that. But I probably there was a while I wasn't listening here, but I heard Margaret, you talked about you know, having an overriding sense of truth. And I think we can find senses of that with things like, you know, the golden rule, you know, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I mean, you know, there are simple things like that we can agree on. And if it's other focused, then I think it's more likely to be legitimate. I think we do tend to, you know, fool ourselves into thinking that we're believing the truth about something, and then we have to confront reality that, you know, we wanted something to be true, but in fact it wasn't. So we have that, you know, that tension between perception and reality sometimes.
That's true.
Yes.
Very true.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right there. Yeah, I think we do have to come back to truth being aligned and connecting with from the position of love, because we can connect from a position of hate or war.
True.
And I don't know that's not my belief of what ultimate truth is.
Yeah.
But it is a connecting point, and it is, you know, people can still match their beliefs that it an eye for an eye. I forget the biblical saying you mentioned, Jeremy. What was it?
Do unto others as you have them do unto you. You know, you talk about love. I mean, there's love one another too. I mean, you know, there are universal truths like that I think if we took more effort to live them out and to spread them to other people and to really make that override our conduct, I think we would, you know, we'd have a better world. People would be centered on other people and their needs and trying to lift people up and do what they can to improve the world, transform people's lives.
Yeah. There are so many references to truth in the Bible. You know, you've referred to one of them, and, you know, one that comes to my mind is, I think they're the words of Jesus. I am the way, the truth, and the life. And you who follows me will have true life, something like that.
Right.
Yeah, and we know that was all of those references to truth in the Bible come out of a sense of love. And so I think truth must align with love. That's where I think there must be the greater belief that truth is aligned with love rather than anything else. And if individuals have a different perspective about that as to what their truth is, if it doesn't align with love, I don't think that is in the spirit of the word truth.
Well, and it could be something intersecting with love. I mean, it could be faith, hope, and love, for example. You know, I mean, if you blend those together, you kind of get a
Trinity.
Kind of give a Trinitarian shamrock going, and you know, that has other significance too. But you know, those three words aren't just thrown around for you know, to make noise. I mean, they have significance. And I you know, we have people that have lost hope, that get anxiety, stress, depression, mental illness, things of that nature. And, that's where, some of us that do have that hope that can show that to other people, I think that'd be very helpful.
Yeah. That's interesting you raise that, Jeremy, on this day, because is today the 9th of October? In Australia it is anyway. Yeah. We're ahead of most of
we're
the rest
in the future.
That's right.
Even though we're down under, we're really
You'll
ahead.
have to tell us how the future is, because we're wondering over here in the United States.
Yeah, we're already here. But on the 10th, tomorrow in Australia, is World Mental Health Day.
Oh, wow.
This is Mental Health Week. So I'm really pleased that you referred to the mental health of people in connection with the truth, because people are denied, obviously through no fault of their own, being in touch or being aligned with truth through mental illness, as you said,
right,
Jeremy, through stress, high-level stress, depression, anxiety. It's almost impossible for people to get in touch with what is their truth when all the clouds are in the way. That's pretty difficult place to be in. There's all the darkness. And so it is being able to lift that darkness in order to create a light and a life for people to be able to find a sense of truth that gives meaning to their lives. Because in those serious states of mental illness, the hope, as you said, the hope and the meaning just goes out of their lives.
Yeah. So does the clarity, like you mentioned. So.
Yeah, so it's a great thing to be raising on this particular day, right in this Mental Health Week. I think that's really, I wanted to do my Wellbeing Weekly on mental health this week, but I'd already set another topic, but I'm going to, it's the next topic we're addressing is the mental health and how it affects people and their well-being.
Good. Yeah, let me know. I have very strong interest in that, and maybe I'll tell you why later. So
join in. Yeah. Thanks.
I noticed a word that keeps coming up in the conversation is being, and I kind of went over and typed in truth to get the actual dictionary meaning, and the first statement that popped up was the quality or state of being true. So I just keep hearing being, when we talk about that connection and that alignment, I wonder what we could think of when we, how we're human beings, instead of a human doing. I like that phrase that people bring up, we're always on the go and so busy and get lost in the chaos of life. And, we can clarify ourselves as being human doings instead of human beings.
Yeah.
That being word kind of bring that, I just keep hearing that, and it keeps making me feel like it is more of a connection to love and light, and and then I guess that's a perception thing with everybody to what that is, whether that's God, universe, great spirit, grace.
Yeah, wonderful. And I think if we connect to truth as from our perspective of human doings, we might actually miss the mark on realizing the true nature of let's say the real nature of our truth in being aligned with the being part of us rather than the doing part of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting point you raised there. Yeah. So Jackie's frozen, I think.
Yeah,
she said.
She's just having a bit of trouble. And so whereabouts are you, Jeremy, in America?
I'm in Lincoln, Nebraska, kind of in the Midwest central region of the United States.
Okay, cool. And what is that kind of cold? Like what kind of temperature are we talking about? Nebraska sounds cold.
It's moderate. I mean, it's cold in winter. We get snow and ice here. Okay. Usually more ice than snow in the winter, but it's still, pretty nice right now. Yep.
So, Jeremy, the Midwest, you said, I missed the place you are.
Lincoln, Nebraska.
Oh, Nebraska. Okay.
Yeah. The geographical center is somewhere in Kansas, and we're just slightly north of the geographical center of the United States. Barely.
Well, everyone knows about Kansas.
Yeah. Yep.
Fantastic. Well, so we've got 2 Aussies and 2 USs. USies.
I love it. And I love it when a guy jumps in because I just love the male energy for the balance. It's cool.
Yeah, it's great. So, yeah, two from the Northern Hemisphere and 2 from the Southern Hemisphere. So I think that must pretty well balance out and give us our truth.
It's unique to have a panel that's balanced in quite that way. I've seen others balanced in other ways, but it took a special arrangement to set this up.
Yeah, it's never by accident, really, is it?
No.
Always how it should be.
So it's coming up to 2 o'clock. It's just hitting. It's daylight saving. It's 3 o'clock Eastern summertime here. It's crazy. Australia, the East Coast, New South Wales has daylight savings, and so that just throws us into another time zone again. But as if we don't have enough.
I made a very clear decision that if there is such a thing as another life, which I think there is, my next one, I'm going to be born in Australia because I never had a chance to come. And now there's other things on the horizon, and I might make it still, but in my next life, I'm going to get born in Australia. I'm going to have a blast there. I think you're one of my favorite places in the whole world.
Oh, cool. I hope you get down here in this lifetime, Jackie.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was going to say. Don't leave it till the next lifetime.
You know how it is. When you
the afterlife.
Yeah, you know how it is. Like, you want to be able to do all the things you want to do, and it's right now for the next few years I'm going to be running all over Europe, and I already have a plan to be in Thailand. Wow. I'm going to probably do my end life in Thailand. So if Australia fits in there, it's not on my horizon right now, but I just think Australia in every way, all the people I've ever met from Australia and Iceland have been phenomenal. Just, you shouldn't group people, but hey,
Yeah.
Oh, that's very nice of you. Very kind of you to say, because we love hearing that.
Yeah. Especially when you go away and you kind of go, I went to Bali recently and I hate to say sometimes it's a bit of a worry, just the behaviour of some of us Australians. It's like, I hope that people don't all see us as, put us in a box. But yeah, so it is nice to hear.
And I'd like to repay the compliment then.
Yeah, same.
Jackie and Jeremy, because I've been to America a few times, and my daughter she had an exchange study program at USF in Florida. And so, of course, I had to go visit her.
Yes, of course.
But every time I've been to America, the people have been so welcoming, so friendly, so intrigued about Australia. And say it again. How do you say that? How do you say it like that?
I'd like to get there. It's definitely a place on my wish list. My kids as well, they really want to go. It's there. And I've got a really good friend here that's lived in Australia for 12 years that's from New York, and I do that to her because she's not too strong in her accent, but every now and again she sounds like a real New Yorker, and I'm like, say that again, that sounded so cool. So because we don't have an accent, you guys do.
Right.
So look, we've hit the hour mark on this Blab, and I think we can obviously with these conversations we could go on and on and on, but I know that there are so many wonderful conversations and things that we have to do anyway because life goes on. So I just want to thank you for sharing your time and your wisdom and your insights with us. I've loved the conversation and hearing from each of you. I love the
you've planted a seed, Marg. I kind of want to think more on this because it was really, really cool.
And I'm wishing I had my next week's topic. I must say, because I've been travelling these few days, I like to announce what's the topic for next week, but I actually haven't given it a thought. So, but I will announce it.
It'll be an amazing spiritual conversation, whatever it is.
Well, yeah, we've been so blessed, with the people who do come and join, and the topics are just.
That's because you're in alignment, so you're attracting the right people.
Yeah, you're connected and in alignment with your truth.
Look, I love those.
What a way to end it.
I love it. Okay, so farewell. Have a great evening to you guys in the Northern Hemisphere, and we've still got our work day remaining here.
Yeah. Lovely to meet you, Jackie. I saw you on a Blab. I can't remember when, but I was hoping I'd connect again with you. And really nice to meet you face to face, Jeremy. I've seen you in the comments a few times around the Blab traps, so it's really nice to meet you face to face. So it was great.
Good to meet all of you too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks so much, Marg, for having me.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Everybody.
Till next time. Bye.